Guys. Oh, okay. Hey guys, what's up? What's my intro? What's up, guys? Shinakuma_A here. Oh my gosh, I can't freaking speak. I am here with another. Oh no, my book. Man, oh, these are the not interesting pages. I'm gonna read to you guys again because, um, well, I think I said in the last video, or not last video, the last time I did something like this, it helps me study, technically speaking. And it brings content. Oh, who said that? Who said that? Yeah, but it helps me study, technically speaking, and it helps me. I already said that. Okay, I don't read this book very often because I don't need to read very much of the book. I only need to read certain chapters, but it's really nice to at least get a whole sense of what the book is trying to say and what to learn from it. Because again, I am supposed to take notes and study and take quizzes and essays about it and stuff like that. So, at the very least, even though I don't necessarily have to, it is nice to get the general knowledge so that I can better understand what the hell is going on in this book. We are reading the Thomas Hobbes Leviathan again. I don't know if that's, I don't know if this is mirrored or not, but we're reading that again. We're continuing off where we left off, which if I remember correctly, based on what I can see here on my YouTube channel, was chapters 1 and 2. We're gonna do chapters 3 and 4 now. With all that being said, let's continue. Chapter 3 of the consequence or train of imaginations. Oh my gosh, I can't even. I'm gonna get a different angle now. Okay. By consequence or train of thoughts, I understand the succession of one thought to another, which is called, to distinguish it from discourse in words, mental discourse. When a man thinketh on anything whatsoever, his next thought after is not altogether so casual as it seems to be. Not every thought to every thought succeeds indifferently. But as we have no imagination, whereof we have not formerly had sense, in whole or in parts, so we have no transition from one imagination to another, whereof we never had the like before in our senses. The reason whereof is this: all fancies are motions within us, relics of those made in the sense, and those motions that immediately succeeded one another in the sense continue also together after sense, insomuch as the former coming again to take place and be predominant, the latter followeth by coherence of the matter moved, in such manner as water upon a plain table is drawn which way any one part of it is guided by the finger. But because in sense to one and the same thing perceived, sometimes one thing, sometimes another, succeedeth, it comes to pass in time that in the imagining of anything there is no certainty what we shall imagine next. Only this is certain: it shall be something that succeeded the same before, at one time or another. This train of thoughts, or mental discourse, is of two sorts. The first is unguided without design, and the first is unguided without design and inconsistent, when there is no passionate thought to govern and direct those that follow to itself, as the end and scope of some desire or other passion, in which case the thoughts are said to wander and seem impertinent one to another as in a dream. Such are commonly the thoughts of men that are not only without company, but also without care of anything, though even when their thoughts are as busy as at other times, but without harmony, as the sound which a lute out of tune would yield to any man, or in tune to one that could not play. And yet in this wild ranging of the mind, a man may oft times perceive the way of it, and the dependence of one thought upon another. For in the discourse of our present civil war, what could seem more impertinent than to ask, as one did, what was the value of a Roman penny? Yet the coherence to me was manifest enough, for the thought of the war introduced the thought of the delivering up the king to his enemies. The thought of that brought in the thought of the delivering up of Christ, and that again the thought of the 30 pence, which was the price of that treason, and thence easily followed that malicious question, and all this in a moment of time, for thought is quick. The second is more constant, as being regulated by some desire and design. For the impression made by such things as we desire for fear is strong and permanent, or, if it cease for a time, of quick return. So strong it is sometimes as to hinder and break our sleep. From desire ariseth the thought of some means we have seen produce the like of that which we aim at, and from the thought of that we thought of means to that mean. Sorry, let me reread that sentence. And from the thought of that, the thought of means to that mean, and so continually till we come to some beginning within our own power, and because the end, by the greatness of the impression, comes often to mind. In case our thoughts begin to wander, they are quickly again reduced into the way, which, observed by one of the 7 wise men, made him give men this precept, which is now worn out. Respice finem. That is to say, in all your actions, look often upon what you would have, as the thing that directs all your thoughts in the way to attain it. The train of regulated thoughts is of 2 kinds. One, when of an effect imagined, we seek the causes or means that produce it, and this is common to man and beast. The other is when, imagining anything whatsoever, we seek all the possible effects that can by it be produced. That is to say, we imagine what we can do with it when we have it, of which I have not at any time seen any sign, but in man only. For this is a curiosity hardly incident to the nature of any living creature that has no other passion but sensual, such as our hunger, thirst, lust, and anger. In sum, the discourse of the mind, when it is governed by design, is nothing but seeking, or the faculty of invention, which the Latins called sagacitas and solertia, a hunting out of the causes of some effect, present or past, or of the effects of some present or past cause. Sometimes a man seeks what he hath lost, and from that place and time wherein he misses it, his mind runs back from place to place and time to time to find where and when he had it. That is to say, to find some certain and limited time and place in which to begin a method of seeking. Again, from thence his thoughts run over the same places and times, to find that what action or other occasion might make him lose it. This we call remembrance, or calling to mind. The Latins call it reminiscentia, as it were a reconning of our former actions. Sometimes a man knows a place to determine. Sometimes, sometimes a man knows a place determinate within the compass whereof he is to seek, and then his thoughts run over all the parts thereof, in the same manner as one would sweep a room to find a jewel, or as a spaniel ranges the field till he finds a scent, or as a man should run over the alphabet to start a rhyme. Sometimes a man desires to know the event of an action, and then he thinketh of some like action past, and the events thereof, after another, supposing like events will follow like actions. As he that foresees what will become of a criminal recons what he has seen follow on the like crime before, having this order of thoughts: the crime, the officer, the prison, the judge, and the gallows. Which kind of thoughts? Which kind of thoughts is called foresight and prudence, or providence, and sometimes wisdom, though such conjecture through the difficulty of observing all circumstances be very fallacious. But this is certain, by how much one man has more existence of things past than another, by so much also he is more prudent, and his expectations thus seldomer fail him. The present only has a being in nature, things past have a being in the memory only, but things to come have no being at all. The future being but a fiction of the mind, applying the sequels of actions past to the actions that are present, which with most certainty is done by him that has most experience, but not with certainty enough. And though it be called prudence when the event answereth our expectation, yet in its own nature it is but presumption. For the foresight of things to come, which is providence, belongs only to him by whose will they are to come. From him only, and supernaturally, proceeds prophecy. The best prophet naturally is the best guesser, and the best guesser he that is most versed and studied in the matters he guesses at, for he hath most signs to guess by. A sign is the event antecedent of the consequent, and contrarily, the consequent of the antecedent, when the like consequences have been observed before, and the oftener as they have been observed. The less uncertain is a sign, and therefore he that has most experience in any kind of business has most signs whereby to guess at the future time, and consequently is the most prudent, and so much more prudent than he that is now new in that kind of business, as not to be equalled by any advantage of natural and extemporary wit, though perhaps many young men think the contrary. Nevertheless, it is not prudence that distinguisheth man from beasts. There be beasts that at a year old observe more, and pursue that which is for their good more prudently, than a child can do at 10. As prudence is a presumption of as a pr- as prudence is a presumption of the future contracted from the experience of time past, so there is a presumption of things past taken from another from other things, not future, but past also. For he that have seen by what courses and degrees a flourishing state have first come into civil war, and then to ruin, upon the sight of the ruins of any other state, will guess the like war and the like courses that have been there also. But this conjecture has the same uncertainty almost with the conjecture of the future, both being grounded only upon experience. There is no other act of man's mind that I can remember, naturally planted in him so as to need no other thing to the exercise of it, but to be born a man and live with the use of his five senses. Those other faculties of which I shall speak by and by, and which seem proper to man only, are acquired and increased by study and industry, and of most men learned by instruction and discipline and proceed all from the invention of words and speech. For besides sense and thoughts and the train of thoughts, the mind of man has no other motion, though by the help of speech and method the same faculties may be improved to such a height as to distinguish men from all other living creatures. Whatsoever we imagine is finite, therefore there is no idea or conception of anything we call infinite. No man can have in his mind an image of infinite magnitude, nor conceive infinite swiftness, infinite time, or infinite force, or infinite power. When we say anything is infinite, we signify only that we are not able to conceive the ends and bounds of the thing named, having no conception of the thing, but of our own inability. And therefore the name of God is used, not to make us conceive him, for he is incomprehensible, and his greatness and power are inconceivable, but that we may honor him. Also because whatsoever, as I said before, we conceive has been perceived first by sense, either all at once or by parts. A man can have no thought representing anything not subject to sense. No man therefore can conceive anything, but he must conceive it in some place, and endued with some determinate magnitude, and which may be divided into parts, nor that anything is all in this place, and all in another place at the same time. Nor that two or more things can be in one and the same place at once, for none of these things have or can be incident to sense but our absurd speeches taken upon credit, without any signification at all, from deceived philosophers and deceived or deceiving schoolmen. That was chapter 3. It has already been 10 minutes. I don't even know how that happened. That was chapter 3. I felt I was reading a little fast, a little too fast. I don't know. What is with all this extra noise today? Jeez. Tell me in the comments if I was reading too fast. I apologize. Yeah, as I have said so many times, I can read all this. I can sound sophisticated as hell. I can't understand what the hell you're saying. But with that, we are moving on to chapter 4, which is not a long chapter. Thank you. I don't want to read a lot. Thank you. I don't like reading. It's not that I hate reading, but it's like I would love to rather do anything other than read. But when I get reading, oh man, I love reading. When you get me something interesting to read, oh yeah, I love reading. But when I'm doing assignments like this, I don't want to read for shit. But we got it. We're doing this because I need to make money somehow. Well, who said that? Okay, focusing now. Chapter 4 of speech. The invention of printing, though ingenious, compared with I'll be right back. Well, fine, well, let me get out of my seat. Okay, focus. The invention of printing, though ingenuous, compared with the invention of letters, is no great matter. But who was the first that found the use of letters is not known. He that first brought them into Greece, men say, was Cadmus, the son of Agenor, king of Phoenicia. Oh, no way. Is that why it's called phonetics? A profitable invention for continuing the memory of time past and the conjunction of mankind, dispersed into so many and distant regions of the earth, and withal and withal difficult as proceeding from a watchful observation of the diverse motions of the tongue, palate, lips, and other organs of speech, whereby to make as many differences of characters to remember them. But the most noble and profitable invention of all other was that of speech, consisting of names or appellations and their connexion, whereby men register their thoughts, recall them when they are past, and also declare them one to another for mutual utility and conversation without without which there had been amongst men neither commonwealth, nor society, nor contract, nor peace, no more than amongst lions, bears, and wolves. The first author of speech was God himself, that instructed Adam how to name such creatures as he presented to his sight. For the scripture to goeth no further in this matter, but this was sufficient to direct him to add more names, as the experience and use of the creatures should give him occasion, and to join them in such manner by degrees as to make himself understood, and so by succession of time, so much language might be gotten as he had found use for, though not so copious as an orator or philosopher has need of it. For I do not find anything in the scripture out of which, directly or by consequence, can be gathered that Adam was taught the names of all figures, numbers, measures, colors, sounds, fancies, relations, much less the names of words in speech, as general, special, affirmative, negative, interrogative, optative, infinitive, all which are useful, and least of all, of entity, intentionality, quiddity, and other insignificant words of the school. But all this language gone and augmented by Adam and his posterity was again lost at the Tower of Babel, when by the hand of God every man was stricken for his rebellion within oblivion of his former language, and being hereby forced to disperse themselves into several parts of the world, it must needs be that the diversity of tongues that now is proceeded by degrees from them, in such manner as need, the mother of all inventions, taught them, and attractive time grew everywhere more copious. The general use of speech is to transfer our mental discourse into verbal, or the train of our thoughts into a train of words, and that for two commodities, whereof one is the registering of the consequences of our thoughts, which being apt to slip out of our memory and put us to a new labor, may again be recalled by such words as they were marked by, so that the first use of names is to serve for marks or notes of remembrance. Another is when many use the same words to signify, by their connexion and order, one to another, what they conceive or think of each matter, and also what they desire, fear, or have any other passion for. And for this use they are called signs. Special uses of speech are these. First, to register what by cogitation we find to be the cause of anything, present or past, and what we find things present or past may produce or affect, which, in sum, is acquiring of arts. Secondly, to show to others that knowledge which we have attained, which is to counsel and teach one another. Thirdly, to make known to others our wills and purposes, that we may have the mutual help of one another. Fourthly, to please and delight ourselves and others by playing with our words, for pleasure or ornament innocently. To these uses there are also four correspondent abuses. First, when men register their thoughts wrong by the inconstancy of the signification of their words, by which they register for their conceptions that which they never conceived, and so deceive themselves. Secondly, when they use words metaphorically, that is, in other sense than that they are ordained for, and thereby deceive others. Thirdly, when by words they declare that to be their will, which is not. Fourthly, when they use them to grieve one another, for seeing nature hath armed living creatures, some with teeth, some with horns, and some with hands, to grieve an enemy, it is but an abuse of speech. To grieve him with the tongue, unless it be one whom we are obliged to govern, and then it is not to grieve, but to correct and amend. The manner how speech serveth to the remembrance of the consequence of causes and effects consisteth in the opposing of names and the connexion of them. Of names, some are proper and singular to one only thing, as Peter, John, this man, this tree, and some are common to many things, as man, horse, tree, every of which, though but one name, is nevertheless the name of divers particular things. In respect of all which together it is called an universal, there being nothing in the world universal but names, for the things names are every one of them individual and singular. One universal name is imposed on many things with a similitude in some quality or other accident, and whereas a proper name bringeth to mind one thing only, universals recall any one of those many. Any of names universal, some are of more and some of less extent, the larger comprehending the less large, and some again of equal extent, comprehending each other reciprocally, as for example, the name body is of larger signification than the word man, and comprehendeth it, and the names man and rational are of equal extent, comprehending mutually one another. But here we must take notice that by a name is not always understood, as in grammar, one only word, but sometimes by circumloc- circumlocution, but sometimes by circumlocution and many words. Circumlocution, many words together. For all these words, he that in his actions observeth the laws of his country, make but one name equivalent to this one word, just. Oh, this is gonna be a long episode. Yeah, I didn't expect chapter three to take so long. We might just stop here. We might just stop here. I just say chapter three, and then we'll read chapter four, and I think five. We can do five and six. Wait, chapter five. Yeah, we could do chapter five, four, and five. Yeah, chapter six is pretty. Yeah. So I'm just gonna end the episode or video here because I don't have enough time to be reading like another 20 minutes of pages, even though it's only like 4 pages actually. Ah, man, sorry. And like what is this called? I forgot what this is called. My throat, or not the throat, but like the bones of it. What is it? I don't remember. But whatever. Anyways, um, yeah. So that was Hobbes chapter three and part of chapter four. Unfortunately, like as I said, chapter four is a little too long to finish in within like 10, 20 minutes. So I'm just gonna end the episode here. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the vid. Sorry that I just talked and rambled the whole time. Sorry that I read chapter three so slowly, as well as chapter four. I thought I was reading too slowly, but I guess I'm not reading fast enough, so I don't know. But yeah. Sorry, I blanked out. Thank you for watching. Peace.